Welcome back to FTF Canada's Inside Look. Today we are speaking with St. Mary's University women's head coach, Marisa Colzie. Marisa, how you doing?
I'm doing well. We had a little snowstorm last night, but I dug myself out this morning and I'm doing great.
Well, I'm glad the snowstorm didn't knock out the power. So
There
that's
you go.
good.
Exactly.
So first off, can you just tell us a little bit about the history of the program at St. Mary's, and then also, your history with the game?
Yeah, so St. Mary's University, we're in Halifax, Nova Scotia in the AUS. We've had a team since 1987, and we've had two championship seasons in 1992 and 2002. We won the AUS championship. We haven't won a national championship yet, but I'm hoping to bring that title to SMU at some point in my career here. So that's a goal of mine. Obviously, first stop would be another AUS championship. So excited about that. Our roster at the moment is I have players from across Canada. So I really try to recruit coast to coast, and there's a few sort of, I guess, famous alums that we have. Signa Butler played for us. She's a big-time sports broadcaster with CBC Sports. You can find her on CBC most Saturdays. And Jolene McIntyre, she's on Bad Chad Customs on Discovery with her fiance. So some pretty cool things going on with our alum. We have a lot of great supportive alumni that are proud of the program and really give back. So we appreciate them. My sort of journey was I played at Coastal Carolina University, a Division I school just outside Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Had an amazing 4 years there, and then went on to be a graduate assistant at the University of West Georgia, which is a NCAA Division II school. I was the assistant coach, got my master's there, and then was offered the head coaching job 2 years later, and I stayed there for another 7 years as their head coach. And then made my way back to Canada. I've always wanted to come home to Canada, and an opportunity presented itself. So made my way to the mountain, to Simon Fraser University, where our paths crossed, Adam. So I was the one of the assistant coaches, sort of head scout, with Alan Koch and the crew, and Schneids and Merriman and Nora Fathy. So that was a great time. Made it to the Final Four. So fun trip to Georgia, and had some success there, and really learned a lot from that staff. And being on the being on the men's side, I hadn't been. I had always coached females. So, and then going from Simon Fraser University, I was hired as the head soccer coach at UBC in 2015, and had a whirlwind of a year there. Won the regular season title, won the conference tournament, and then went on to win the national title as well. So that was a great year, 2015. I was also 7 months pregnant at the time, so went on maternity leave. My husband is also a head coach. He coaches the other football, the American football, the pretend football, but we won't have that debate. So he took the head coaching job at SMU, St. Mary's University, and I came east with him. And then when my mat leave was off, it all stars aligned, and the job opened up here at SMU, and I was hired. So this would have been my fourth season. I was hired late, so my first year I really didn't. I didn't have time to recruit much. Tried to get a few recruits in, but our first season wasn't as successful as I would have liked. prior to my being hired, they had only won 4 games in 4 years. So I knew I had my work cut out for me, but I had a keen group of players. And in my second season, after my first full recruiting class, we were over 500. We made playoffs for the first time in 6 or 7 years. And we beat the second ranked team in the nation, CBU, at CBU. So we made huge strides forward. And I'm really excited for what the future holds with this group. We're quite young. I'm bringing in pretty large recruiting classes every year, but I have a substantial amount of first, second, and third year players. I have no fourth year players, and I only had one fifth year player this year. So, we're going to be a tight knit group for the next few years, and I'm just excited for what the future holds for this group of players. So, yeah, that's a little bit about my program.
No, yeah, that's phenomenal. Obviously, a whirlwind of a career in coaching, traveling tons. And obviously, winning at UBC, winning a national championship, there's specific things that you're looking to build in your program. So what are some of the footballing qualities that you would say that you probably look for across the board? So regardless of position, regardless of kind of area, what's a footballing quality that you think is kind of mandatory?
Yeah, I think, as a coach, I'm sort of looking for that, the perfect makeup, the perfect mix of, soccer IQ, technical ability, and athleticism. I think if I can find the right mix, that spells out a pretty solid player. I think also just the ability, across the pitch, the ability to take in information as quickly as possible, right? To make the best decision possible for the situation. I give my players a lot of freedom. Obviously, we have our game model and our structures and things like that we play out of, but the game is so fluid, so I really want them to be able to make decisions and for themselves. So if they have that ability, that's an exciting thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, obviously being able to take in info and pass it along would then be able to improve anyone's decision making, regardless of where they are on the pitch. And I think, when you talk about, football IQ, technical ability and athleticism, those probably vary depending on the position that they're playing as well, right? Like that's probably when you're looking for that blend. Well, the athleticism of a winger is going to be a little different than the athleticism of a center back, you know,
Exactly,
likely.
exactly, right? So, and I mean, I'm pretty old school with regards to like the makeup or the profile of each position, right? I like my center backs tall and strong and know how to communicate. It doesn't mean you can't be shorter, but that's usually I like my fullbacks or my wing backs to be able to start an attack, be comfortable on the ball and have some pace and across the back line, be fearless, right? Be able to get stuck into tackles. My goalkeeper has to be a general and constantly instructing and communicating with the team. Obviously strong coming out on crosses and corners and be a good shot stopper. Center mids, and depending on what part, holding my 6 or my 4, right? Depending on who you speak with, will same sort of ideas as my center backs, but maybe a bit more creative on the ball and has some great vision and passing proficiencies. And then my 8 and my 10 want to be them to be creative, be able to see things that maybe others can't. My wingers, speedy and can turn the corner, and depending. Right now we play out of a 3-5-2. In years past, more of a 3-3. 4-3-3. So I sort of play now with a false nine and a more traditional nine. So maybe that false nine, being able to check in and hold up a ball and be a bit stronger on the ball. And I think across the board for me, something that can gain you marks with me is just being able to win a ball out of the air with your head. I think it's something I really look for, and maybe it's because it's part of the game that I loved, but that's something that I really look for, obviously in my center backs and in my holding mid, but across the board, because set pieces for me, it can make or break a game, can make or break a season for sure. So if you're a player anywhere on the pitch that can put a ball in the back of the net with your head off a corner kick, you're going places.
All right, that's awesome. Now, outside of football, what are some of the individual characteristics that you think are really important for young recruits to have?
So for me, number one is work ethic, right? Um, it's really going to take you places, and that's on the pitch, that's off the pitch, in the classroom. So I really want to see a player that's willing to be committed and willing to show that they're gonna outwork their opponents, and a willingness to compete. I want competitors, right? You know, I want someone that can, is going to push themselves, and while they're pushing themselves, they're pushing their teammates to be the best they can be. So that willingness to compete is big for me. And just the character piece, right? The honesty with themselves and with their teammates and their coaches, and an openness to take feedback is huge, right? Because as a coach, I want to be able to give you that, and I want to be able to stretch you and really challenge you to be your very best on and off the field. So a willingness to be open to that feedback is going to be huge for your growth. So I really look for quality teammates and quality people, and that's part of what we're trying to build at SMU.
Yeah, I mean, I think that last thing you said about being able to take in feedback is something that I don't know that a lot of younger players, I know I didn't necessarily think that when I was their age, was that
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing that they expect more from you.
Right. Yeah, because it's if you're going to work hard and you're going to do all these other things, but if you're, maybe shut down if you're getting some feedback, right, then that's not going to take you to probably where you want to go, right? Most players want to improve, I hope. So, that feedback is a huge part of that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if you're not getting feedback when you're not playing particularly well, that's not a good sign.
Exactly. If I'm talking to you, that means, or if I'm giving you feedback, that means that I know you're capable of more, right? So that just shows my belief in you, and what you're capable of.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, so for any incoming recruits, what are the academic standards that are pretty well required for anyone applying to SMU?
So for SMU, we don't take anyone under 2.0, and so nothing. Let's just say, because obviously everyone's sort of scale is different, but nothing under a 60. So your overall GPA, or your overall percentage coming out of high school, coming out of grade 12, has to be a 60 or above. Saying that, no mark can be under a 60. So,
So it's not
so
enough for an
just
average.
exactly. So no mark can be under a 60. Oh, and excuse me. Yeah, no mark can be under a 60, and you have to have a 70 or above. Now, if you have an 80 or above, coming out of grade 12, then you'll get academic entrance money. So, and we have sort of two sort of situations. If you're in grade 11 and you have an overall average of 80 or above, I would recommend applying to SMU early, because we have early admittance, and the chances of you getting more entrance money are greater. The longer you wait to apply, the less, because we have a certain amount of money, right? So if you have those great grades, if you're over an 80% in grade 11, that second semester, I would apply to SMU, and they will admit you with those grade 11 marks. And whatever you are offered at SMU, they can never take it away as long as you stay in good academic standing and you graduate, right? But if in grade 12 you do even better, right, they'll increase your entrance scholarship. So it's just great initiative to be admitted early, and the amount you can get obviously can go up from $1,000 or $2,000 to $6,000 or $7,000 depending on your average. And then there's other awards and scholarships that you can apply for on top of that. So you know, there's tons of money out there that that's available, but that's just, you are automatically getting entrance scholarship if you apply to SMU and you have over an 80. So that's a great thing for students to know. And then depending on what you're looking to, what faculty you're looking to apply to, that is dependent on what 5 academic courses they choose. So if you want to go into arts, then they'll take your English and then 4 of your next best grade 12 or 11 academic marks. And then, you know, science, same thing. They take your 2 best sciences, your English, your next best 2. So that's sort of the breakdown of scholarship and what the average is. Now on my team personally, we hold quite a high academic standard. I had 14 academic All-Canadians on my team this past year, so over a 3.5 GPA. And that's sort of anyone below a 3.0 is in study hall for me. So, you know, I think the environment that you'd be stepping into, the academic standard is high and is going to challenge you. But that's I think a great thing for in the end graduating, right?
Oh, for sure. Now, when you're talking about, you know, the extra being able to maintain that money, you need a certain GPA. What GPA would that be?
Yeah, so the entrance scholarship is renewed yearly if you can keep a 3.67 GPA.
And are you guys on the 4.0 scale or 4.33 scale?
4.33 scale.
Oh, just like SFU. Yeah, that's good to know. Awesome.
Mhm.
And for people who don't understand, 3.67 would be a B plus or A minus average.
Yes.
A minus. Yeah, A minus, because A would be
Okay,
4, 3.67 is A minus, B plus
perfect.
is 3.33.
You're better than me, Adam. The math was never my strong suit.
Now, when you look at incoming freshmen coming into your program, how important is it for them to understand the program culture?
Yeah, so it's pretty big, right? Because that's sort of what keeps our team cohesion, right? You know, so understanding our standards, understanding what we're trying to build, so you know, our core values. Yeah, but the best part about, for me, the recruiting process is usually it's, you know, almost a 2-year process, if not longer. So by the time a first year comes onto campus, they know what we stand for, right? They've vetted us as much as we vetted them. They've you know, talked to me on numerous occasions, right? They know kind of what, you know, what standard I hold, sort of what I'm looking for within our program, sort of what role they will play in the program. And then, you know, a lot of the times they've met the players, maybe not this year, this could be the 1 year. But, you know, we've done lots of Zoom calls, right? Before they come in, they would have, even this past year, they would have, you know, done team Zoom calls with us. So understanding that, but I think for me as a coach, I want them to understand that before they even step on campus, right? Because that's sort of when you're signing that letter of intent, that's like also what the contract's about. It's your understanding sort of the standard and what we're building and the environment you're going to step into, and understanding your role in that. So and yeah, I'm super open and you know, transparent with what I feel a player's role should be. um, and by all means, you know, we are constantly revisiting that, right? And that's constantly evolving. So but yeah, I think it's even before they step onto campus.
No, yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I know that for young kids going through, especially players who might be, you know, oh, I'm the top player on my team, it's really difficult now to jump in and find your like a place in an established culture already.
Hmm.
Like you might be
Hmm.
going up against, yeah, I'm my same position. I got to beat out the team captain.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? As a recruit, as a young player, like those are also the questions you should be asking a coach, right? Because yeah, there might be a team captain that has literally started from day one, they've stepped on campus, and you know, that's also why the ability to play other positions is so key, and just being open to that. Because I think as a first year, if you are open to not pigeonholing yourself to I am you know, I'm a 7, right? Like if you are, you know, pigeonholing yourself, then it might take a bit more time to crack a roster, to get in games, or to get it be a starter. But if you're open to that and your coach knows that, that's why that openness piece is so important to me. So yeah, I think you got a better chance, right? And who wants to sit on the bench, right? Like your reason for wanting to play university is you want to challenge yourself, you want to get out there. So and I'm not saying, you know, some first year, second years, you know, it's a process, so it might take time. But just, yeah, having those open dialogues with your coach, I think is huge.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to take anything away from obviously this year, you know, you've had to do a lot more online. Um, Being able to have players understand the culture, do you think it's going to be easier for years going forward? Maybe, you know, retooling your processing after this year?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we never used Zoom before. And I'm like, why did we not? Right? Because we are scattered across the country. So normally, right, like kids would come in for their visits. You know, we'd have off-season training, you know, through our team builder app and things like that. But this was the first year that we met as a team on a consistent basis and sort of started laying the groundwork with, you know, working towards our core values, you know, our game model, like things like that. So when players actually stepped on campus, we were so far ahead of any other time. So I think that, I mean, we're going to continue to do that, right? So yeah, so I think for the first time, you know, usually that first day of preseason, it's sort of, you kind of know people, you kind of know what to expect. But I think moving forward, everyone will know what to expect. We will have went through so many things in advance, and now it's just about the application piece and getting on the pitch and doing it. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. There's a lot of things like that I've taken, and that I'm going to continue regardless of, you know, when the pandemic ends or not.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that we've used social media so much in our everyday lives now that it took a pandemic for us to realize that we could use technology to
Oh
actually
yeah,
figure out a better process for
exactly.
this.
Oh yeah, exactly. So I'm really excited about it. The positives, right? That the silver linings that we're taking from it.
No, for sure. Now, how busy of a life is a student athlete going to have at SMU? Kind of in season and off season. What are some differences, but what are some pretty consistent measures?
Yeah, I think, you know, it is a, I mean, it's a full-time commitment, right? Like this is going to feel like a full-time job, hopefully a job that you love and, you know, you're passionate about and want to go to every day. But you know, in season, right? We'll start about mid August and get going for preseason. We'll have usually two weeks before our first game, 3 weeks before. It's 21 days officially before the opener. So we'll have the 3 weeks to get ready, and we'll do. It just depends. Back in the day, I would have said a lot of two-a-days, but I think for 3 weeks is a pretty decent amount of time, and it's just about how prepared we are going into those 3 weeks, right? So if you did what you needed to do in the summer, there's no reason I have to kill you in preseason. With regards to that, I think we can load in an appropriate way. But yeah, it'll be intense, and we're getting ready for battle, right? The AUS conference play, and then we'll start games that Labor Day weekend in September. We'll play up until the end of October, start of November. And then usually that first weekend in November is our conference tournament. And then the weekend after that is usually nationals. So we train every day. We taper. Obviously, we're looking at our load. So, we'll taper closer to game day. We'll have walkthrough day before game. And then it depends on the year and, sort of the research with regards to when we have our day off. I have done in the past. So if we played on a Friday, Sunday, we'd have Monday off. And then I have done also where we'd have an active recovery on Monday, and I'd give them Tuesday off. So it just depends when I look at the schedule and kind of sit down with our staff to sort of see what would be best for us physically. So, but yeah, it's intense. So we have you're training every day for the most part. Usually 2 matches in a week. And then we're also in the gym with our strength and conditioning coach 3 times a week. Usually Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, we actually have, a substantial workout. And then Friday, more activation, because if it's game day or if we play the next day. So yeah, that's in season. And then, off season, we will have 3 training sessions a week, 3 gym sessions a week, and then we try and get 1 match in a week. So it's not as intense during the off season, but we definitely, this is a 12-month program, right? So even in when you're away, right, in the summer, you're getting your programming from our strength and conditioning coaches. So yeah, it's a commitment, right? So it's just about, what are you willing to commit to? And I think a lot of youth players nowadays sort of know what that commitment looks like. But yeah, it's definitely a commitment. It's about time management and just having fun, really.
Yeah, for sure. And you just mentioned time management there. Do you think that that's probably the most important aspect that a freshman will need to figure out about their lifestyle as a student athlete when having to balance, social life, school, sports? Or do you think there's something else that, again, is something that it's mandatory? You need to, day one on campus, you've got training, you've got class. Like, what do you need to know?
Right. I think it's probably threefold, twofold for sure. You need time management, right? And with that comes being organized. So, because there's nothing worse, right, than you just had practice, because we do practice in the mornings. So our mornings will be practice, right? Hopefully you got up, you ate something, you have practice, and then if you have to jump from practice and head to head class, right? Did you pack a meal? Are when's the next time you're fueling your body? And or did you pack all your books? Did you have your extra clothes, right? Because usually during season, you're going from one thing to the next to the next. So that time management piece and the organization, and then just the, you have to be disciplined, right? Because you are going to be on your own pretty much for the first time in your life. If you're going away to school, right? If you're, from somewhere other than Nova Scotia, you're away from your parents or your support system, whoever that may be. And, it's on your shoulders now. So, a lot of university classes, they may not take attendance, right? So that's about you being accountable, you making sure you're getting there. I'll remind you as a coach. I'll do some reminding about that, but really, yeah, it's in your hands, and I'm going to be there to support you to be the best you can be and to be successful. But yeah, it's really in your hands. So being organized, time management, will be key in that, and then just being disciplined to get the work done.
For sure. And I mean, if the coach is coming to you to remind you, it's typically too late because that
Yeah,
means they've seen your grades.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly,
remember going through
exactly.
that, going, "Oh no, all right," and having to get in gear and make sure that I
Right.
corrected it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a big one for kids to understand, is that if your coach is coming to you about your grades, yeah, it means you really need to get your stuff going because there's some issues there.
Yeah, it's easy that first year to dig your hole, right? Academically, it's very easy to dig your hole with your GPA, and it's hard to climb out of it. So, I say that placing that really strong foundation that first year, giving yourself a fighting chance, keeping a good GPA. And if that means, in youth sports, you only have to take 3 classes a semester to be full time. So, if you just need to take 3 to make sure that you're successful, really plant that solid foundation, and then be an advocate for yourself. If you are struggling, don't hide that, right? And I know it can be embarrassing sometimes, or we're just, we're in denial, like, no, it's not that bad. But really, if you need help, just ask for help, because that's what, we're there for as coaches and as a staff and as a university. We're there for you to be successful.
Yeah, no, for sure. And on the flip side, if you do very well your first year, it makes it a lot easier and you get more breathing room in future years, because the more credits you take, the more
Exactly.
solidified your GPA comes and the less it drops if you have a
Exactly.
poor course.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, it's huge. That first year is definitely huge.
Now, jumping back to the recruiting side, and I'm not sure if you've had any experience in this so far at SMU, but what are some of the kind of the advantages that you find when you recruit like a CCA player or a JUCO player, so a transfer?
Yeah, so actually my first year I did recruit a player from Kings came to me, and so Itai Kawadza, she played for me for 3 years, and she's actually on my coaching staff now. And yeah, it's that they have the experience, right? They've played, maybe not at the AUS level, but they've played in a university game before, right? They have that experience to them. They're a little bit older, so usually that comes with some maturity, right? So I think the experience and the maturity aspect is really huge, especially when you have a younger team. So for me, we were quite young, and recruiting a JUCO player, or a player that played at the college level, just added a bit of experience and added a bit of maturity in that leadership piece. So, that was a huge asset for sure.
No, yeah, most definitely. Now, when you're looking at, highlight tapes that get sent to you, what are certain things that you are definitely looking for within highlight tapes, and then things that you're just absolutely do not include this?
For me, I think to begin, right, you just want to catch my attention. So, so definitely clips, right? The first time I see you play, I don't want to see the full match. Eventually, I do want to see the full match, but, that first time, and then be cognizant of the opponent that you have me watching yourself again. So to me, it doesn't impress me if you score 7 goals against, a team that I can clearly see is well below your ability, right? I want to see you, maybe not even score a goal, but be in it against a top team, right? So that's what I want to see. Just, be cognizant of the opponent that you're showing me. And then yeah, I like to see sort of the play out a bit, yes, obviously cut it up a bit, but just sort of, I want to see it evolve a bit and sort of what you do, because I'm looking at you and how you affect the ball, but also what you're doing off the ball and things like that. So yeah, those are the big things for me. Some coaches, they don't want to see you doing like a gym workout or some technical work. To me, it's, you can put that in, it doesn't bother me here or there. But yeah, the two things that I sort of touched on with regards to clipping it out, and those are the big ones for me.
No, yeah, for sure. And I mean, I'm guessing too, another big one is, a wide variety of different things that you do on the pitch. Like if you're looking at a center midfielder, you don't want to see 12 square passes.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So give me, yeah, like I want to see all the tools in your toolbox, right? Like showcase yourself. And yeah, not sort of one trick pony. Yeah, like what can you do on both sides of the ball, right? I mean, the modern game, you could call yourself a defender, but you're usually starting the attack, right? You're playing out of the back. If you're an attacker, well, guess what? Normally, lots of teams press, we press, right? You're going to start our press. You're going to be defending, right? So all of these things, and then for me, the work ethic piece, right? I don't mind if you make a mistake. To be honest, I'd like to see that once or twice to see what you do after that mistake happens, right? So, it's all those things, yeah.
All right. And now looking at showcases, what are, like, in a typical year, we're going to scrap 2020,
Okay.
but what are some typical showcases that you would like to be able to attend kind of yearly? Like, what are the ones that you're like, yeah, I go to these ones?
So earlier in my career, I've always went to the Umbro Showcase. So even when I was in the States, and I've continued to do that. So that's the one I go to in Ontario. And then I used to go to the Whitecap Showcase. Now it's been renamed. Um, I forget what the
Is the
name is now.
BCSBL high school or university showcase or something like that?
No, that's different. So the Whitecap Showcase is on Easter weekend, that I used to go to all the time. It's been renamed, and I haven't been able to get to that one because it's been on Easter. So I've now annually been going to the BCSPL Showcase. And then, yeah, I mean, what you guys are doing at FTF, I always watch, I always watch your stream events and love that aspect too. But yeah, in the years past, those are the two: the BCSPL showcase in BC, and then the Umbro showcase in Ontario.
All right.
And
And
then
then
and then obviously anything in the Maritimes, the Atlantics, and we have a South Shore showcase. So anything here for sure. And then those are my sort of out of province.
gotcha. And then, obviously looking at those events, those are, really, they're kind of yearly events that you're kind of seeing, and you might be seeing the same players. When would you
Mm.
say is that you kind of start your recruiting process for players, and how does that evolve through their high school career?
Yeah, so for me and soccer in general, it's earlier and earlier. I think a few years ago, probably it could have been your senior year and even into your second semester senior year. I think lately though, again, like I mentioned, it's getting earlier. I usually have my year in advance class done before the new year starts. So yeah, your first semester grade 12s, or summer going into your grade 12, because you're officially allowed to sign your letter of intent at the start of your school year in grade 12 for youth sports. So usually I have commitments around that time, and everyone signs by the new year, right? So again, same now. My 2021 class is pretty much wrapped up, you know, and then I'm on to likely my third 2022 commitment already. So we're about 2 years in advance. And really, you know, I don't like to put pressure on the players. I'm not the coach that's going to say, okay, I've offered you, you have a week to decide. I truly want everyone to see all their options and weigh all their options, and to know that you're choosing SMU because we're the best option for you and you really do love the school. Because I think when players are pressured, so you know, a lot of the times it doesn't work out, or you know, this is a huge decision for a player. So I want them to really be sure about it. You know, that being said, it's all about transparency and having dialogue, because obviously, as a coach, when you are offering, say, I'm offering you a scholarship, right? That money is now tied up with you, and you know, I wish we had a huge budget, but you know, the budget is what it is. So you know, when that money's out there, it's tied up in that decision. So but it's all about dialogue. If you need more time, you want to see this or that, then I'm all for it, because I want you to know that SMU is the place for you. But you know, to sum it up, I'd say, yeah, like grade 10 or 11, you're starting to narrow down your schools. Grade 11, we're zooming and we're talking, and you know, um, by the end of grade 11, a lot of times, yeah, you've sort of verbally committed, and going into grade 12, you've signed your LOI.
All right. And then lastly, any other further advice that you'd have for any recruit in Canada?
You know what? I'd say do the legwork, because there are places, you know, if you truly want to play university soccer or college soccer, you want to go on to, you know, whatever the level is, um, you know, it's just about doing the legwork and being committed. And you know, for a university coach, if you have a few universities in mind, right? So do your research on those universities, right? Reach out to those universities, get yourself in, you know, especially right now, right? Really, really start reaching out, and, you know, don't be resilient and be determined, right? And continue, because I think a coach is going to let you know if they see, you know, if they want to continue the dialogue, and you know, that's going to give you some answers. But yeah, if you want to play at the next level, you just keep pushing yourself, and there's a spot for you somewhere. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Marisa. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much, Adam. Thanks to FTF. Yeah, First Touch Football. You guys are doing some amazing things. And yeah, I'm really excited with everything you're doing. And I can't wait to, fingers crossed, there's some combines coming up in the new year.
Yeah, we're trying to plan on it. We just got to see if the environment's right. So thank you so
Exactly.
much again.
Exactly. Awesome. Thanks, Adam.